Before I see anything in here drow, the smell hits first. That's going to be the whole story. The Mayflower, 1620, 102 passengers. This space is where all of them lived for 66 days. 25 meters long, 8 meters wide. Smaller than most apartments. For 102 people. For 66 days. No windows. No natural light. No ventilation except the hatches TAS, which in a storm stay closed. The hull is always damp. The Atlantic seeps through constantly. The wood, the pallets, everything is damp. Wet wool, salt, wood rot, unwashed bodies, tallow candles, bilge water. That's the baseline. Every single day. 60 centimeters between bunks. You roll in, lay flat, roll out. That's sleeping for 2 months. That's the ceiling from bed, pine planks and rusty nail tips. For 66 nights, rocking, creaking, the Atlantic underneath. The Pilgrims built these bunks themselves. The Mayflower wasn't designed for passengers. Right, it was a cargo ship. The mattress is straw under canvas. It starts compressing from day 1. By week 4, you're basically on wood. This chest is the only private space. Everything you own fits in here. Personal territory for 66 days. 102 people, 66 days, same clothes, no privacy, constant motion, no silence. Now let's talk about the bathroom situation. The bathroom foyant, called the garden or beakhead fiat, is at the stern. You have to get there first. Cold, wet wind, October 1620. Every time you need the bathroom go, this is what you cross first. At night, in a storm, sicked out, this walk to the stern latrine. For 102 people. Every time. During bad weather, there were buckets below deck. Shared. For 102 people. Think about that smell. The crew hated having passengers. Paying customers, but in the way, sick and smelling terrible. Bradford wrote that one sailor cursed the passengers and wanted them overboard. He died mid-crossing. Bradford noted that. The bathing question. Did they bathe? Not the way you're thinking. But they weren't just sitting in filth. She's doing what passed for bathing on this ship. A damp cloth. That's the full hygiene routine. Wet cloth, wring, wipe face and neck. Fresh water was rationed, so not daily. But it happened. Linen cloth and vinegar cures used as disinfectant and deodorizer. Vinegar worked against bacteria. They just didn't know why. Wine vinegar. Used for everything, wiping surfaces, wounds, washing cloths. The hand sanitizer of 1620. Most people get medieval hygiene wrong. They weren't indifferent to cleanliness. Different methods, different resources. Counterintuitive fact, wool doesn't need washing as often as cotton. Lanolin in the fiber repels moisture and bacteria. Outer wool ctheat not washed during the crossing. Linen underwear washed when possible. That was the full system. Linen against skin, wool on top. Linen absorbs sweat, gets washed. Wool regulates temperature, stays on. It works. Lard and ash soap. Alkaline ash reacts with fat to create a basic detergent. Bronze Age chemistry can, it works. Teeth. Frayed twig or cloth as a brush. Salt. Some use chalk powder. Not nothing, just different. The bilge. Seawater that gets in collects here. Ballast stones and everything that drips from above. The smell source. The cargo hold. Below the sleeping deck. It's wetter down here, darker. And the smell is significantly worse. Beer, salted meat, hardtack, peas, cheese. Everything for 102 people for the crossing and first months at Plymouth. The hold also collected bilge water carrons, which sat against the barrels, contaminating the food inside. Some of it did. Food and hygiene are directly connected. Bad food means dysentery. Contaminated water, cow, the same result. 66 days, hardtack, salted meat, dried peas, hard cheese, beer. That's essentially it, every single day. Hardtack, flour, water, salt, double baked until all moisture is gone. Lasts for years, also could break teeth. Dry cracker made of concrete. Zero flavor, my jaw hurts. And this was the primary food for 2 months. By week 4, the hardtack had weevil larvae. Passengers soaked it in beer first, killed some of the insects. Every passenger, every child, every day, how? Beer. Water went bad within weeks. Beer was safer than contaminated water. About 2 to 3% alcohol per annum, small beer. Children drank it for breakfast. Hydration, not intoxication. A fire on sand in a box. Wooden ship in the Atlantic. Only heat source for 102 people. In Stormsbeer, no fire. Too dangerous. Cold food, cold water, cold everything for days at a time. In October, pea soup. Salted pork with dried peas. It smells actually okay. Wooden bowl, hardtack on the side. Zero vitamin C in this diet. Double baking destroys nutrition. Salted meat has none. Beer has none. Scurvy was inevitable. Scurvy at 4 to 6 weeks without vitamin C. Fatigue, bleeding gums, swollen joints, bruising. Then it gets worse. By mid-crossing, always people in here. Not one illness, pal. Compound effect of cold, bad food, no sleep, stress. No doctor. A surgeon who was also a barber. Tools, lancet, cauterizing iron, herbs, prayer. In that order.
Bloodletting for scurvy. The treatment made it worse, removing oxygen-carrying cells from someone already nutritionally depleted.
66 days. One person died crossing that, a servant. Lower mortality than typical long voyages. Relatively well managed. 2 people were born on the crossing. Oceanus Hopkins, mid-Atlantic. Peregrine White in Cape Cod Bay after arrival. Oceanus Hopkins, born mid-Atlantic. On a pallet, in this space. His mother survived. He survived until 1626. I want to ask you something. Actually think about it before you answer in the comments. 66 days here, trades, same conditions, limits. What would be the hardest part for you personally? Not the obvious answer. For me, it's the noise. 102 people coughing, snoring, seasick ver, 66 nights. No silence. That would break me. November 1620 storm. A main beam cracked. They used a printing press screw as cargo to rebrace it. Kept going. A printing press screw as structural support for the cracked hull in a storm. That improvisation kept them alive. After hours below Sa, cold, open air. Every time someone came up here, it must have felt like surfacing. For weeks, only this. Same horizon, same gray water, same sounds. No reference point except the ship. No GPS, dead reckoning only TEDs, speed times direction times time. In a storm that breaks down, flying blind. They aimed for Virginia Palm, further south, warmer. Storms pushed them north. New England in November by accident. November in New England instead of Virginia autumn. Weather made that decision, no, not them. It cost them enormously. Damp wool, no bathing, shared buckets, contaminated water, weevil biscuits, scurvy starting. That's the hygiene picture. They kept going. The people sick below who never came up here, here's nothing but the lower deck for weeks. Imagine that. 6 weeks of dark, damp, smell, noise, cold food. Then someone comes down. We can see land. November 9, 1620, land spotted. Cape Cod, everyone who could walk came up. After 66 days, pav, land. That dark line is land. 66 days for this. Bradford, no celebration, ho, just a note that land was seen. Massachusetts coast, November 1620. Dense, dark forest, no structures, gray water, cold sky. That's what 66 days bought them. 4 more weeks to find Plymouth. Exploring the coast by small boat in November. Still on the ship. Same conditions. The general sickness that killed half the colony started on the ship. Already sick when they landed. The Mayflower stayed at Plymouth until April 1621. People died on it through winter. Hospital and dormitory for months. These planks, they walked this every day, frayeds. 66 days crossing plus months at anchor. This wood was their world. Not a great ship before this voyage. A middling cargo vessel that carried the right people at the right moment. That's England, 5,100 kilometers of ocean, crossed with a cracked beam, a printing press, and weevil biscuits. When it left in April Tay, not one surviving passenger got back on. They chose the forest over going home. I came to understand the hygiene. I understand the will. Hygiene was the context. Will was the story. The smell, the 60-centimeter bunk, the garden over open ocean, the weevil biscuits. Daily reality for 66 days. After 66 days of all that tide, not a city, not a port. A forest, a beach, a winter starting. The question isn't about the Pilgrims, it's about you. What's your version of the hardtack and the 66 days?
That direction is home. Every one of them had a home there. Some had been comfortable, they chose this.
What in your life is worth 66 days of that? An actual thing. Tell me in the comments. The lower deck smelled exactly like I described. Weevil biscuits. Bathroom over open ocean in winter. 102 people did it. 1 died crossing, 2 were born crossing. When it left Chem, not 1 got back on.
I keep coming back to the smell. First thing I noticed, last thing I'll remember. That was there every day.
Not a glorious ship. Cargo vessel. Bilge and tallow smell. The people in it made it mean something. Back to the smell, low ceiling, damp wool. Reality. The myth is the buckle hats. This is the ship.
That small square of sky through the hatch. The window to the world from down here. Close it, Pan? Gone. Not the deck with the dramatic sky. Down here. In the smell and the dark. That's where they kept going.